Kathy, you want to do that? I might as well put you on Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Blessing of the Sabbath. Barak for Yahweh. Bahashem Yahweh Shah. Asherah. Nithalanawa. Hashabath. Bashalawam. Thowada. Amen. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shah, that gives to us the Sabbath and peace. Thank you, so be it. Ta'ayim Ma'ad Asherayim Akkad, Psalms 121. Anya Harayim. Yanyam ya, oh, Haharim, Ma'ayan, Yabawa, Isaiah, Yabawa, Mayahawa, Sha'aisha, Shamayim, Wa'aratazar, La'a, Yanathan, Lamawat, Regalia, Yala'a, Yanawam, Shashamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawum, Wala'a, Yayashun, Shashamar, Yasharallah, Yahweh, Shamaya, Yahweh, Tazalia, I'll, Yah, Yam, Yawamam, Hashemash, La'a, Hakaya, Wayarak, La'a, Baliyala, Yahweh, Yashemaya, Makal, Ra, Yashema, Napasha, Yahweh, Yashema, Hawalakia, Wabawa'aya, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Aiwalam, Bahasham, Yahawashah, Thawada, Aman. Psalm 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. Amen. Shema Yashra'Allah, hear, O Israel. Shema Yashra'Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haynawa, Yahweh, Echad. Shema Yashra'Allah, Yahweh, Allah Haynawa, Yahweh, Echad Shema Yashrallah Yahweh Allah Haynawa Yahweh Echad. Deuteronomy 6 and 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our power is one Lord. Amen. Tapla Yahweh, the Lord's Prayer. Abiyanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwithka, Saba'ah, Batazawanka, Hayah, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Ka, Bashamayim, Befulanawa, Lakam, Yowum, Za, Wasalaklanawa, Kabawathnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kabawathyanawa, Wala'a, Habiyanawa, O, Nasayawan, Abo, Hawashinawa, Marai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwath, Waha'ala, Wahatha Pa'arath, La'ayawalam, Amen. Matthew 6 and 9. After this manner, therefore, pray, our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. Ha'asherah Matazawaf, the 10 Commandments. La'ah, Yahaya, Laka, Alahayim, Akaryim, Al-Punya, La'ah, Ta'aisha, Laka, Pasal, Wala'ah, Ta'ibadam, La'ah, Talakwaka, Shamwa, Yahweh, Alahayaka, Lashua, Zakar, Ath, Hayawum, Hashabath, La Kodashwa, Kabad, Abika, Wa'amaka, La'ah, Daratazak, La'ah, Thana'at, La'ah, Daganat, La'ah, Da'aina, Shakur, La'ah, Dakamad, Ko, Asherah, Lara'ayaka, Amen. Exodus 20 and 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water of the earth. Thou shalt not bow nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy power, am a jealous power, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy power in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. Amen. Yeshua, be seated. Barakatha Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Asherah, Nathalanawa, Parya Hagapin, Thawada Aman. La Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shah, Ath Yasha Allah. Barak upon you in Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Barak for Yahweh, Hagadol, Rakuam, Abiyar, Wanara'ah, Aliyah 1. Malak, Shal, Shamayim, Wa'aratazah, Wakol, Dabayim, Kayayam, Wagam, Hamashiach, Mayahawa, Adawanawa, Ahabnawa, Hapalah, Yawaitazah, Yahweh Shah, Zakarnawa, Yahweh, Barataza 1, Aimka, Yasha'Allah, Izarnawa, Banah, Wa'asap, Yasha'Allah, O, Nanawa, Yum Yun, Aitha, Kabyawamyam, Makwadam, Baba Kwasha, Shalat, Mayaka'Allah, Wahataz Wadat, Alahayim, La, Maganawa, Rapanawa, Washamar, Alnawa, Ba'akwar, Shalat, Haroka, Shon, Yahweh Shai, Lanawa, Lalamadawa, Rabiam, Kakama, Sabawana, Wada'aith, Shal, Dabaraka, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Thorwada, Thum Yad, Iwalam, Amun. In translation. Blessed are you, Yahweh, the great, merciful, mighty, terrible, most high power, King of heaven and earth, and all things living. And also the anointed from Yahweh, our Lord, our friend, the wonderful counselor, Yahweh Shai. Remember us, Yahweh, favorably your people Israel. Help us build and gather Israel. Most High, we beg you right now, like the days of old. Please send Michael and the righteous powers to protect us, heal us, and watch over us. Mainly send the spirit of Yahweh Shai to us to teach us much wisdom, knowledge, and understanding of thy word. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you always and forever, so be it. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the law. Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Ethelanawa, Hathorah. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us light to see. Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Ethelanawa, Awar, Lara. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the ram's horn to call the people. Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Ethelanawa, Korun, Ha'ayol, La Korah, Ha'aim. Blessed are you, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai that gives to us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Barak Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Ethelanawa, Hashaman, Zayath, Lamashak, Yasha'Allah. Yeshabah, be seated. All right. Shalom, Yasha'Allah. Those who are listening on the teleconference, watching on the live stream, brother here in the school, Shalom, Ashar Shabbat, or Happy Sabbath. But this is also the Feast of the Unleavened Bread, right? That we're in now. We had the Passover this evening. And of course, the Passover itself is done once the sun comes up in the morning. Everything has to be eaten and thrown away, as we read this evening during the service. But now we're into the unleavened bread portion of the feast day, right? And it's also the Sabbath. So we also want to give Ashar Hamatazawath, or unleavened bread, for this week coming up, as well as the Sabbath. Now, we started a bit late due to the service last night. Some of us didn't get home until real early in the morning, and then, you know, just recuperating, and then getting a quick bite to eat, and then coming to the school. So again, to everybody who was able to keep the Passover, you know, that's a good thing. For those of us who, you know, either had circumstances come up, Most High has it where you can keep it the next month, right? So that you won't miss out. This is as we read, a feast or a night to be much observed. So the Most High wanted to make sure that all Israel observes and keeps that order. All right. So this is something that we should want to do. So this is Hayash Kanas, the Congregation of Israel. I'm Kahan Samat. We're going to be reading today in the New Testament, the book of Matthew, the 16th and the 17th chapters. I had initially decided to skip the Hebrew for time's sake, but I love reading Hebrew, so I'm gonna read the Hebrew first, expeditiously, but also judiciously. It's my new line. All right. So again, we're in Matthew chapter 16 and 17. I'm gonna read 16 first in the Hebrew, and then we'll continue on with the English edification. So this is Matthew 16 and 1. Wayagashwa hapara war yim, or the priests, Pharisees, waha tazadakwakim, the Sadducees, lana sawathwa waya sha'owa ma'athwa laha ra watham awath mun hama hashamayim, for heaven. Verse 2. Waya ain waya mar lahum ba'irab marwa yawum tazak jahya kaya adamwa hashamayim. Verse 3. Wababa kor marwa hayawum sa'ir kaya adamwa wahatha kodarwa hama hashamayim ka wapyim atham ath panya hashamayim Yadaitham laba kun wa athwath ha'ithyim la'a thawakowa. Verse 4. The war rai wama na up bakwash lawa awath wa awath la'a yana thun lawa ba lathya awath yawa na hana hanabaya waya I Zabum, waya Izabum, waya Ko, waya Lak, Lawa, verse 5. Wakaba Wa, Hathalama Yadyam, O Ibar, Hayam, Sha Kakwa, Laka Kath, Athum Lakam, verse 6. Waya Amar, Yahawashai, Oya, Ra'awa, Waha Shamarwa Lakam Masha Ar Hapa Rawashim Hawa Salak Waha Taza Dawakyam, verse 7. Wayaka Shabwa Balaba Bum La Amar Kya La A La Kaknawa Athnawa Lakam, verse 8. Yawa Salak Wayada Yahawa Shai Waya Amar Al Yaham Katanwa, so like Quatanya Ha'ama Wana Man Ma Thaka Shabwa Balababkam Kaya La'al Lakaktham Athkam Lakam, verse 9. Ha'ai Wad La'a Thashaka Yowa Wala'a Thaza Karwa Ath Kama Shath Kakarwath Lahakam Laka Mashath, Alapia, Ayam, Salak, Ayash, Waya Kama, Solium, Na Shatham, verse 10. Wa'ath, Shabai, Kakarwath, Lakam, La'ara, Ba'aith, Alapia, Ayash, Waya Kama, Salak, Dawadyam, Nashatham, verse 11. Ayak la'a thaba yanwat ya la'a ayo halakam amarthia al yakam hasha marwa lakam masha'ar hapa rawashim wahataza dawakyam, verse 12. Az haba yanwa kaya la'a mar laha shamar masha'ar halakam kaya mala mawad Hapara Washim Wahataza Dawakim, verse 13. Wayahaya Kaba Wa Yahawashai O Gala Yowath Kwaya Saryan Sho Pa Yo Pawas Waya Sha'o Ath Lama Salak Thalama Yadyawa La Amar Ma Amariam, Nashim, Alia, Maya, Hawa'a, Bun, Ha'adam, verse 14. Waya Amarwa, Yash, Amariam, Yaka, Salat, Yawa Kanan, Hamata, Bayo, Hawa'a, Wa'a Karyam, Amariam, Oyaham, Salat, O, Yawa, Yash, Amariam, Yarum Yawa or Akad Man Hana Bayayim, verse 15. Waya Amar Al Yahum Wa Thamma Tha'amarwa Maya Anya, verse 16. Waya Ain Shemaywan Pa Tarwas Waya Amar Athar Hawa'a Maya Shayak Bun Alahayim Kaya Yum, verse 17. Waya Ain, Waya Amar, Olyawa, Ashart Yaka, Shamaiwan, Bar, Yawakana, Kaya, Bashar, Wadam, La'aga, La, Laka, Ath, Za'ath, Kaya, Abiyah, Shabashamayim, verse 18. Wa'ap, Anya, Amar, Olyaka, Kaya, Athar, Patarwas, Wa'il, Hasa, Lai, Hazah, Aba, Na, Ath, Kwaholyatha, Washa'aria, Sha'awol, La'a, Yagabarwa, Al Yaha, verse 19. Wa'athun, Laka, Ath, Mana, Salak, Mapa, Thakwath, Ma, Lakwath, Hama, Salak, Hasham, Mayim, Wako, Ashrath, Asar, Ail, Ha'aratiza, Asa, War, Yahaya, Bashamayim, Wako, Ashrah, Lathayah, Ail, Ha'aratiza, Athar, Yahya, Bashamayim, verse 20. Az, Tazawath, Salak, Tazawah, Ath, Hathala, Mayadim, Baga'ai, Ra, Laka, Lathya, Hagawad, Salak, Hagayad, La'a, Yash, Kaya, Hawa'a, Yahawashai, Hamashiach. Verse 21. Mun, Ha'aith, Hahaya, Hakol, Yahawashai, Laha, Warwath, Off, Ath, Lathama, Yadyawa, Kan Lathama, Yadyawa, Shawa, Tazara, Yak, Lalakath, Ya Ro Shalom, Waya I Na Hara Bai, Bayadya, Hazaquanyam, Wahaka Hunyam, Hagada Walyam, Wahaya Salak, Wahasa Wapariam, Wayaha Rag, Wabaya Wum, Hashalamya, Salak, Hashala Yasha, Kwum, Yakwum, verse 22. Wayakwakawa, Patarwas, Wayako, Laga Ire, Bawa, La Amar, Kas, Laka, Adjadja, all Yahya, Laka, Kaza'ath, verse 23. Waha Pun, Waya Amar, La Patarwas, Sawar, Ma'alia, Hayash, Hashatan, Lama Kashwa, Atha, Laya, Kya, Ayan, Labka, Ladabarya, Alahayim, Kya, Ladabarya, Bunyan, Adam, verse 24. Waya Amar, Yahawashai, O, Talama, Yadyawa, Ayash, Kya, Yaka Pataz, Lalakath, Akaria, Yaka Kash, Yaka Kash, Bana Pashwa, Wabashar Ath, Tazalabwa, Wahalak, Akaria, verse 25. Kiyako Ashara, Yakapataz, Laha Washayai Ath, Napashwa, Ta'abad, Napashwa, Mamanwa, Wako Ashara, Ta'abad, Lawa, Napashwa, Lama Anya, Hawa'a, Yama Tizana, verse 26. Kiyamo, Hawa'ayal, Ha'adam, Kaya, Yakwana, Athko, Ha'aywalam, Wanapashwa, Tashakath, or Ma, Yathun, Ha'adam, Padyawan, Napashwa, verse 27. Kaya, Aitha Yad, Bun, Ha'adam, Labawa'a, Baba Salah, Bakaba Wad, Abyawa, Ain, Mala Akyawa, Wa'az, Yashalam, Lakam, Lako, Ayash, Kama I Shawa, verse 28, last verse. I think it's last verse. Come. Aman, Mar, Anya, Lakam, Kya, Yashman, Imadyam, Pa, Ashra, La'a, Yata'aimwa, Mawath, Aid, Kya, Yarawa, Athbun, Adam, Bawa, Bama Lakwathwa, his kingdom, Bama Lakwathwa. All right. So that's the Hebrew. Now we'll read it in the English. So Matthew 16. And 1. It says, the Pharisees also with the Sadducees came and tempting desired him that he would show them a sign from heaven. Right? Because they didn't believe Yahushua was the Messiah. Even though they saw him doing all his teaching, going around and healing, they still didn't believe that he was the Messiah. Right? Not paying attention to his action, his words, and the prophecies that was given by the prophets. They didn't have that spirit to discern that he was the Messiah, right? It says, verse 2, he answered and said unto them, when it is evening, ye say, it will be fair weather, for the sky is red. And in the morning, it will be foul weather today, for the sky is red and lowering. O ye hypocrites, ye can discern the face of the sky, but ye cannot discern the signs of the times, right? So you could know the weather forecast and what's coming based on what you see easily. Right. But you can't discern the climate of the changing of events of what's going on within us spiritually. Talking about himself that he is now come. They now looking for something else when the sign is already before them. Right. He's the sign. He's here. Yahushua is now present. So you don't need anything more than what he's already doing for you to determine that, listen, the Most High sent the gift or sent the salvation amongst us. But they didn't see that, so they wanted him to do above and beyond what was the norm, so they can now tempt him into doing something that he don't need to do, right? Verse 4, it says, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed, right? So he now made a statement. I'm not giving you a sign. The only sign that I'm going to give you is what Jonas left, right? Now, what did Jonas leave us? What did he say? Let's go to the book of Luke, the 11th chapter. The book of Luke, 11th chapter and the 30th verse. Actually, I'm going to start at 29. Luke 11:29. I'm going to read all the way to 32. Luke 29 to 30. Luke 11:29 to 32. Yeah. To 32. Eleven 29 to 32. Huh? This is going to be with the fourth verse. Yeah. So this is Luke 11:29. It's going to kind of start off with the same thing that he just said. It says, and when the people were gathered thick together, he began to say, now this people, of course, is the Pharisees and the Sadducees. This is an evil generation. They seek a sign, and there shall no sign be given it, but the sign of Jonas the prophet. Right? So now what is he alluding to? He's going to tell them. He says, for Jonas was a sign unto the Ninevites, meaning the Most High sent Jonas to the Ninevites for them to repent, right? That was the sign that they received. So the same way Jonas was the sign to the Ninevites and he caused them to repent, Yahushua now is a sign to Israel at this time, causing them to repent. Same thing I tell you in Luke 4, I think it's 4:13. Just write that down. Yeah, Luke 4, no, 4 and no, it might be Matthew. Give me 1 second. Yes, Matthew's 4:17. From that time, Yahushua began to preach and to say, repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. So Jonas went to go preach to the Ninevites that they were supposed to repent. Not that the kingdom was for them, but they had to repent from their evil ways. Right. And he was that person, a figure sent by the Most High to do that duty. So here it is. The Most High has now sent Yahushua to Israel to have them repent. But they don't see Yahushua as being sent by the Most High. So they want a different sign. And he's like, listen, what other sign am I going to give you? But what is already here? The same thing that was given to Jonas is what is here right now. That's in Matthew 4:13. So now back in Luke, what I was just reading in the 30th verse, it says, for as Jonas was a sign unto the Ninevites, so shall also the Son of Man be to this generation. The queen of the south shall rise up in judgment with the men of this generation and condemn them. For she came from the utmost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, a greater than Solomon is here. So now when Solomon was filled with the wisdom that the Most High blessed him with, you had different people that came to hear the wisdom of Solomon that he received from the Most High. But now here it is, a greater than Solomon is present with Israel, and they don't want to listen to him, right? So that person, if she was to arise today, she would go and condemn those of our people at that time, and the same as right now, who don't listen to the preaching of Yahushua. Right. It says in verse 32, the men of Nineveh, who Jonas went to, shall rise up in the judgment with this generation and shall condemn it. For they repented at the preaching of Jonas. And behold, a greater than Jonas is here. So they repented when Jonas was sent to them. Yahushua has been sent to us. And they don't want to repent. They don't want to humble themselves. So they're not going to receive any other sign except for the same thing that was given, and that should be sufficient. Now, as we read further on in this chapter, it's going to come back to this same type of circumstances going on, but he's going to now deal with the disciples, right? So now that was Luke chapter 11, verses 29 to 32. To link here with Matthew 16:14. I'm sorry, 16 and 4, the water. And you could also just add 1 Corinthians 1. First Corinthians 1 and 22. 1 Corinthians 1, 22 to 23. Which says, for the Jews require a sign and the Greeks seek after wisdom. But we preach Christ crucified, unto the Jews a stumbling block, and unto the Greeks foolishness, right? Because the Greeks don't have the wisdom of our history like that to understand Yahushua being the Messiah or our Savior. So to them it's foolishness. Right. But now to those who it was meant for, the Jews, he's a stumbling block, right? Because they're stumbling over their own salvation. They're stumbling over their own Messiah. Right. Hence all the things that Christ went through with the Pharisees and the Sadducees. Same thing that even Paul and the rest of the apostles had to go through when they went out to preach Christ. Right. It became a stumbling block to a lot of people. So that's 1 Corinthians 1, 22 to 23. Right. Now we're going to go back. We're going to go back to Matthew 16. So now I'm going to read again verse 4. It says, a wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it, but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. And when his disciples were come to the other side, they had forgotten to take bread, right? So when they now was on their travels with Yahushua, they get to the certain location, they forgot they didn't bring any bread or food, right? When that happens, verse 6, then Yahushua said unto them, take heed and beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees. So we talked about this, I believe, last week in the class, pertaining to a specific topic that Yahushua is trying to bring out. But now these are two separate things that's going on. One, they forgot to bring physical bread. Yahushua is now going to make a statement and say, hey, make sure you be aware of the leaven that the Pharisees and the Sadducees is putting out, right? Verse 7, and they reason among themselves, saying, it is because we have taken no bread, right? So they're thinking he's speaking about this because they didn't bring any bread to make any leavened bread with. So they were going to probably go get some and make it. And he's telling us, you know what? Whatever we do, don't go to them. Make sure we don't take their leaven, right? That's what they're thinking. And carnally, pertaining to this statement from Yahushua. Verse 8, which when Yahushua perceived, he said unto them, O ye of little faith, why reason you among yourselves because you have brought no bread? What? Wait a minute. You guys don't have that good of faith. Right. Because y'all didn't bring bread. Y'all now sitting thinking that I'm talking about that. He says in verse 9, do you not yet understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000 and how many baskets you took up? Don't you remember when we only had like a few pieces of bread and we fed 5,000 plus? And then after the 5,000 plus, y'all took up like 12 baskets left over. Right. You had a whole bunch. Me not having that carnal bread is nothing. I can make bread. It's not a big thing. Why are y'all tripping out on that? They forgot. That's what he said. Do you not remember, or have you lost faith on what just transpired before? Right. Verse 10, neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000 and how many baskets he took up, or the other time when we only had a little bit of bread and fish, and I made more then, and you still took up more, right? So do you think that I can't do this again and have food for you, right, or for the people? That's not a big thing. What are you thinking, right? Right. Verse 11. How is it that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees, right? Mm-hmm. So how did y'all miss that? Why didn't y'all not think that I wasn't talking about actual bread when I'm pertaining to what the Pharisees and the Sadducees? How did y'all not catch that? They're the priests. They were the priests at that time. Two distinct groups of priests. One who believed in the resurrection, who believed in angels, who believed in spirits, right? That's the Pharisees. The Sadducees did not believe in any of that. So they don't believe that when you die, your spirit goes to the Father. They don't believe the Most High has angels or sends angels. They don't believe that you can die and be resurrected.
So the Sadducees do not believe it.
The Sadducees didn't believe it. But the Pharisees do. So those are two separate, distinct groups that are coming together, unite as one to come against Yahweh Shai. Oh, okay. Right. So verse 11 again. How is it that you do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees? Right? So now you put them on the spot. I wasn't talking about regular bread. Talking about something else. Mm-hmm. Verse 12. Then understood they how that he bade them not beware of the leaven of bread, but of the doctrine of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. So what they was teaching, he was saying, be aware of that, right? Because what they can put out, that bad information or that type of character or lifestyle can get into the rest of the congregation or get into you and leaven with rise, and it begins to flourish. So don't receive, because doctrine is words, information. Don't let that seep into your spirit and then grow. That's what happens when you have leaven. When you make bread, you put the leaven in the bread, in the dough, and when you bake it, causes it to rise. Right? Right? So don't have that seeps into you. We're supposed to be unleavened. Right? That's what this week symbolizes. We're supposed to be the unleavened bread. Yahweh Shai said, don't let that leaven that they put out get into you. That doctrine. Right? How so? Also write down Luke 12 to link with this 12th verse here. Luke, the 12th chapter, and the first verse is going to link with Matthew 16 and 12. Right. Luke 12 and 1. Come. So Luke 12 and 1 states, in the meantime, when they were gathered together an innumerable multitude of people, insomuch that they trode one upon another, he began to say unto his disciples, first of all, beware ye of the leaven of the Pharisees, which is hypocrisy. Right? Which is hypocrisy. So the leaven, their doctrine, was filled with hypocrisy. It was filled with hypocritical things, because they would say one thing and put responsibilities and tasks on the people, but they themselves wouldn't do it. They would read certain things out of the scriptures, but they themselves wouldn't do it or follow it. They wouldn't in the spirit of what they was teaching, right? So even Yahweh Shai said at one point, listen to what they say, but don't do what they do. Don't follow their actions, because that's like somebody saying, you got to be a little bit more humble. And you're like, okay, those was wise words, but they themselves are not humble, right? They're prideful and everything else. So don't follow their actions, but the words that they're speaking, follow those, because that's coming out of the scriptures. And then Yahweh Shai and the rest would then fill you up with the understanding and edification. All right. So that's Luke 12 and 1. So now back in Matthew 16, we have verse 13 now. It says, when Yahushua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, who do men say that I am? Salak, who do men say that I, the Son of Man, am? Right? That's a very important statement, you know, when you're paying attention to him being the Messiah, because this is one of the scriptures where he's telling you that he is the Son of Man. He's questioning the disciples, who do the people say that I, the Son of Man, am? Right? Verse 14, and they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist, some Elias or Elijah, right? Which, when you look at it, Elijah and John the Baptist spirits are both the same, right? So they're the same individuals. But some say, oh, that's John the Baptist who probably just got beheaded, and oh, that's Elias come back, right?
That's the way they believe.
This is what they're thinking, right? It says, and others, Jeremiah, or the prophet Jeremiah, or one of the prophets, or any one of the other prophets. This is Isaiah come back, or this is Ezekiel, all right? Or this is, you know, someone that they would pick and choose based on what they thought.
Right.
Verse 15, he saith unto them, but whom say ye that I am? Right? So now remember, in the beginning, we was looking at the Pharisees and the Sadducees who don't believe that Yahushua is the Son of Man. So they say, show me something, do something else to prove to me that you are who the people think you are, right? So now Yahushua is saying, well, who do you think I am, right? Verse 16, and Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, or the anointed, the Son of the living power, right? So the faith that Simon Peter had confessed and said, listen, you're the one. You are the Son of the Most High. You are the one that was prophesied in the past to come. Right? So they didn't need anything else. Everything that he was doing was sufficient for them to know that that is the one that was sent by the Most High. Right? Verse 17, and Yahushua answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah. That's his real name, right? Simon Bar-Jonah, right? For flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven, right? So no man had to come and tell you that I was the Son of Man. No one else had to come and tell you that I was the anointed. You knew that all on your own because of the spirit that you seen, right? No one had to prove it to you. You'd seen it on your own.
Right.
So that's why he said it's a blessing that the Most High allowed you to see that.
Right.
Same thing like I always say here, it's a blessing that the Most High has allowed us in here to see Yahushua, to see this truth. No one had to, it was a spiritual thing that the Most High opened up our eyes. So in this regard, whereas a lot of people didn't believe and see Yahushua for who he was, they did. And that's a blessing, right?
Yeah.
Give me 1 second. You can link this up with 1 Corinthians. First Corinthians, the 2nd chapter. Second chapter. And the 7th verse. First Corinthians 2 and 7. This links up with 17.
16, 17.
Mm-hmm. Give me 1 second. All right. So in 1 Corinthians 2 and 7, it says, but we speak the wisdom of God in a mystery, even the hidden wisdom, which God ordained before the world unto our glory, which none of the princes of this world knew. For had they known it, they would have not crucified the Lord of glory. So the wisdom that was being spoken that Paul is speaking about now is the same thing Yahushua came and spoke. But it's a hidden mystery. Everybody's not going to receive it. If that were the case, and if they really knew that Yahushua was the Messiah, they would have never given him up to be crucified in the way that they did, right? So it's the same thing now that Yahushua is speaking on, talking about Peter. He received this hidden mystery, this hidden wisdom to know that Yahushua is who he is, right? It says, but as it is written, I have not seen nor ear heard, neither have entered into the heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him. But God hath revealed them unto us by his Spirit. For the Spirit searcheth all things, yeah, the deep things of the Most High power, right? So the Most High does not show everybody everything, right? So that's why when people read the Bible and they see the things that's written in it, they don't understand what it is because it's a mystery. And that's only revealed to the Most High chosen, right? The ones that the Most High has put that spirit in. And once you have that spirit, the spirit is going to reveal certain deep things to you or just other things. All right. So that was 1 Corinthians 2, 7 to 10. 7 to 10. So back in Matthew 16 and you could also link that 17 verse with Galatians, because it says, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. You can link it up with Galatians 1. Galatians 1. And 11 to 12. So Galatians 1 and 11 says, but I certify you, brethren, that the gospel which was preached of me is not after man. For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ, right? So it wasn't anything convincing. It was by the Spirit of Yahushua that I was able to receive what I received, right? So the same token on the other side, the way Peter, whose original name is Simon, the way he was received it is because it came from the Father. The Father allowed him to see Yahushua for who he is. Exactly. So it's the same thing with us. When the people come to us and we say this is what we're following and this is what we're dealing with, is as it is written, they're not going to see it, or they're not going to see who you are, because it's not spiritually given to them to discern spiritual things. Right? They can discern worldly things, but not spiritual things. And that's the task for us, to be able to bear that. Right? Now we'll get to that too in a little bit. So Galatians 1, 11 to 12. Then let's go back to Matthew 16, and now we have verse 18. So it says, and I say unto thee, the thee is talking about Simon Barjona, that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Right? So now Christ gave Simon a surname. He said, now you're going to be Peter. Go to St. John, or write down St. John 1. And 42. So in St. John 1:42, it says, if somebody whoever's online can just go on mute, get a little bit of feedback. You can mute your phone. So in St. John 1:42, it says, and he brought him to Yahushua. And when Yahushua beheld him, he said, thou art Simon, the son of Jonah. Thou shalt be called Cephas, which is by interpretation a stone, right? So this is the surname Simon Peter or Cephas that's now being given to this man because of what he was about to represent, right? And that's what Yahushua just alluded to. So he has a regular name, like a lot of times you'll see in the scriptures, certain people carry a name based on what their father gave them. Right. But then certain things or certain instances may happen and you may get a surname or like a nickname, okay. Right? You have what they say your government name, but everybody else know you as that because of what happened that day when you was doing such and such, or the characteristics that you embody. That now is your new nickname or surname. So this is what Yahushua is giving Simon, a surname, Cephas or Peter, because he was going to be that rock or that stone that was going to help build or found the church. All right. So now let's go back to Matthew 16 and 18 again.
Did that link up with that?
Yes, that links up with verse 18. Right. So it says, and I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Right? So the gates of hell is talking about sin. It's talking about this captivity. Like it will not be able to break this church. When the Most High and Yahushua establish it, there's nothing that's going to come and destroy it. Right? Sin and death and hell are not going to be able to destroy. So the gates that lead into hell cannot prevail against this church. Okay. Right? Just so you can have it, go write down two scriptures. Psalms 18. Psalms 18, I think verse 5. Actually, I'm going to start at 4. 3. It's 3. Psalms 18 and 3 to verse 5.
Okay.
Right. Psalms 18 and 3 to verse 5. And then I'm also go to Proverbs 5 and 5. So Psalms 18 and 3 to verse 5, and then also Proverbs, the 5th chapter and the 5th verse. So it says, I will call upon Yahweh, which is worthy to be praised. So shall I be saved from my enemies. The sorrows of death compassed me, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. The sorrows of hell compassed me about, and the snares of death prevented me. Right? So you look at the 4th and the 5th verse, when it talks about the sorrows of death and the sorrows of hell, that's pertaining to sin, transgression, iniquity, right? That is what he was surrounded by. Sin, ungodly men that was preventing him from doing what he needed to do, which is in righteousness. Right. So that's why he says, and the floods of ungodly men made me afraid. Then he says, the snares of death. A snare is like a trap, okay. Right? So when you get caught up into a circumstance, a temptation, it got you, right? So Yahushua says, the gates of hell or death is not going to prevent or stand against this church that Peter's now going to start to build, okay. Right? That's why we are as strong as we are. When I speak about we, I'm speaking about those who are founded in Yahushua as it is root. The various different churches that's throughout the earth, there's nothing that's going to prevent or come and divide and conquer us where we can be destroyed, right? Everyone else is going to be destroyed. Like it says, Satan divided against itself cannot stand, right? So when we are all unified under Yahushua, nothing is going to come and take us down. Right. But it started with Peter, who then now was going to be left after Yahushua was taken up to start continuing that on. Right.
Okay.
And then now Proverbs 5:5, it says, her feet go down to death, talking about this person who has a foreign wisdom, not the wisdom of the Most High, but wisdom that comes from the world. When you read in the beginning of this chapter, right? Her, which is a feminine gesture of wisdom, her type of wisdom, it says, go down to death. The Most High's wisdom goes to life. Her wisdom goes down to death. Her steps take hold on hell, right? So the wisdom that you follow and that deals with society leads you to hell, right? The gates of hell is not going to come up against Peter because they're not following death or sin. It's all following the teachings of Yahushua or righteousness. Right. So that's Proverbs 5:5.
Okay.
All right. So that all linked with verse 18.
Right.
All right. So now let's go back to Matthew's chapter 16, verse 19 now. It says, and I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Right? So the most Yahushua has now said, I've given you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, which is in righteousness. Right? So it tells you when you read in Matthew's 18th chapter and the 18th and 9th, the 18th to the 20th verses.
18 chapters.
Matthew's 18, verses 18 to 20. It says, verily I say unto you, whatsoever ye shall bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever you shall loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. Meaning, when you make decisions on certain things, right? As far as for, like a good example, like when you see in the Maccabees, when we had the Feast of the Rededication of the altar, the priests came together and made a memorial of that event. They bound that on earth, and it was bound in heaven by the Most High, because they was unified under a righteous spirit to make this a memorial of what happened during that time. So now Yahushua said for Peter and the rest, when we now come, we're not talking about on that level, but now when we make decisions of righteousness or in righteousness here in the school, or if we somewhere else, that's going to be bound on earth. And that's going to be bound in heaven. How so? It says, again, I say unto you that if two of you shall agree on earth as touching anything that they shall ask, it shall be done for them of my Father which is in heaven. For where there are two or three are gathered together in my name, there I am in the midst of them. So it's like Yahushua is present when we're making decisions in righteousness, right? That's why you have more than one person. You got to have two or three men that's in the spirit to make a decision, to make it right. Right. And when that decision is agreed upon, and we now bound out on earth, the Most High Yahushua has now sealed that in heaven as well. Right. So that's why he says, I've given you the keys, because now that is something that Yahushua, the Most High, would have that power to do. Right. But now he's like, Peter, I'm giving this to you now. It has to be done in this fashion. You just can't talk about having a wicked person, someone who doesn't follow this order. Someone who doesn't follow the statutes and the commandments, doesn't exhibit the fruits of the spirit, to be in tune with that. Right? It has to be men who are of a sound mind. And when they come together to bound this on earth, it's solidified. All right. So that's Matthew's 18 to 20. Come. So now reading on verse 20 back in Matthew's 18. It says, then charged he his disciples that they should tell no man that he was Jesus the Christ. So after he did that, and he proved and he affirmed that yes, Peter and the other apostles believed that he was the Messiah, he said, don't go out and say it to anybody.
Right.
Let them believe that on their own. Right? Let them come to the same revelation that you brothers did, based on faith.
That you have learned.
That they received based on faith.
Right.
Right? Because remember, Yahushua said back in verse 17, for flesh and blood have not revealed it unto thee. Right? Man didn't have to come and convict you overwhelmingly. You got this revelation and you believed it based on faith. So when your faith was opened up, then the Most High gave you everything else that you need. It's the same thing with all of us. Once we have that faith and we've given our heart and spirit and soul over to the Most High and we believe what his word says, then the Most High come and add everything else. Then Yahushua come add everything else. But it starts with faith first. When you don't have that faith, nothing's getting in. That's why when Yahushua went to heal those people who were sick or had an infirmary or something, they had to have faith first.
Right.
Before they were healed, right? He would say, "Thou faith hath healed thee. Go and be gone." Right? Because your faith did it already. It wasn't so much about the sickness or the illness; it's always about your faith, your belief. Verse 21. It says, "From that time forth began Yahushua to show unto his disciples how that he must go unto Jerusalem and suffer many things of the elders and chief priests and scribes, and be killed, and be raised again the third day." Right? So it says from that moment on, after they believed that he was the Messiah, it says that he then had to go and he began to start telling them, listen, I'm going to go in, it's going to be a time when I'm going to go into Jerusalem, and they're going to beat me, and they're going to do all kind of things to me. Told him ahead of time. And they ain't going to kill me, right? So imagine, and Peter, remember, these men were still being groomed. Their faith wasn't high level faith yet, right? They believed on Yahushua, but they still had some growing to do. So as he's telling them this, imagine they're like, no, this is the Messiah. I ain't letting nothing happen to you. Who gonna kill you? Right? Because they're just thinking that he's now the savior that's going to probably bring us to the kingdom right now. They're not thinking about that he's the son of the Most High and he's going to die. For the purpose, and he's telling them that. He's explaining to them what has to happen, right? Verse 22. Then Peter took him and began to rebuke him, saying, "Be it far from thee, Lord, this shall not be unto thee." Right? So as Yahushua is talking amongst the disciples, he's hearing this. And remember, Peter was just designated to be the rock. And he's like, wait a minute. He's talking about who's going to do what? He's going to allow this? He's going to just stand by? It says he went and took him. No, Yahushua, no. You're not letting this. He grabbed him up. He took him. Right? Like somebody who's out of their mind. He grabbed him, took him. He's like, nah, be it far from me. This is not going to happen to you. I'm not going to let this happen. Right? But again, in the same way in which he is believing on Yahushua to be the Messiah, based on what those prophets have written, right? He now has to understand that the prophets also wrote about Yahushua coming and being that sacrifice. So that's the part that Yahushua is now giving them, that he's not eating all of it up. He can't believe he didn't dissect all of that, right? So now if he stops that, he's stopping the Most High's prophecies. He's stopping the will of the Most High. He's trying to prevent what the Most High said was going to happen. Remember, said the Most High said, my word shall not go out void, meaning that if I said it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Here you come, Peter, thinking that you're going to stop it. But he's kind of still cloudy on the fullness of what Yahushua is coming to do, right? So verse 23, but he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan, or the devil. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. So this is emotion that's settling in to Peter, right? That's why when we do the work of the Most High, we have to separate emotion from the spirit, right? Not to say that emotion doesn't have its place when we're doing the work, but that carnal emotion, you can't have that, right? A great example of that, when we read a few weeks back in the Maccabees with a woman who had her sons and they were being killed because they didn't eat swine's flesh.
Right.
And it says that she took upon her a manly spirit, meaning it's a customary thing for a woman to be very emotional when it pertains to her children. Right? You'll see in the world when a person who's a murderer, a pedophile, and everything else, the family gonna still be there in court. The mother gonna still be behind there supporting her son, regardless. He's a pedophile. He's a murderer, but she's still supporting. They're giving him the. Oh my God! Listen, the guy is deserving of punishment. He deserved those 20 years, 50 years, whatever, because he did this crime. It was vile. But the mother who now understands it, because it's even in the law that a parent, if your child is wicked, it's in Deuteronomy. If your child is wicked, you got to separate that emotion from spirit. If he's or she is wicked, you got to bring him to the priest, and then they're going to deal with him or her. And if they find out that person, that child is not looking to repent or budge, they're going to put him or her to death. Right. Now, the parent has to go through all these different emotions on bringing them to that point where they know that he has to be dealt with. But they separated emotion from law and spirit, right? So in the same token here, Peter, he's dealing with emotion right now. He ain't thinking about prophecy. He ain't thinking about what was set up by the Most High. Right. So Yahushua knows that that's a spirit of Satan that's on him. That's why he said, get thee behind me, Satan, because you don't savor the things that be of God. You savor the things that be of men. Right. Men have that type of solidarity, not the Most High. The Most High's word has to stay fit to what it is. Got to go through. Got to go through, right? So he says, get thee behind me, Satan. That's why he told him that. Right. So now, when you pay attention, and I mentioned this years ago, he's talking to Simon Peter, Cephas, the stone, the rock, right? But he's speaking to the spirit that's in Peter. Get thee behind me, Satan, right? He's not telling Peter just get behind him. It's a spiritual thing. Now, credit, you can look at it as a duality. Yahushua is talking to the multitude, right? Now, we're supposed to always keep our eyes on the prize, meaning keep our vision toward Yahushua and the Most High. Right. We're supposed to be eye to eye with the Most High and Yahushua, like how Moses seen the Most High face to face, right? You want to always see the Most High face to face, or Yahushua face to face, not literally, spiritually, right? See him spiritually, which means, you know how people are one accord? Like if we all doing something together and we go somewhere and like, you cool? Yeah, we right here. We're all together. We right here. We eye to eye with one another. But now if something comes and intervenes in the middle, now if Satan is here, Peter's not seeing me eye to eye, or you're not seeing me eye to eye. I got to get that thing out and move it behind me so now we can still be one right here, right? So on one hand, you have the spiritual aspect of it. And then on the other hand, someone could say, well, yeah, you got to move Peter because Peter ain't in his right mind right now. Let me continue dealing with the rest of the disciples, right? Yeah, but he ain't right now. But in both aspects, you got the carnal aspect, but you have the spiritual aspect. So that when we deal with one another, sometimes spirit jump on you, right? And a brother or sister may have to check you. Listen, you gotta get that spirit off of you. Get that spirit from off of you so that you can see the Most High Yahushua again, face to face or eye to eye. Right. So that there's nothing that prevents you. Like we read in Psalms, the snares of death prevented me. Sin was preventing me. Satan is there trying to prevent you from doing what you need to do or allowing what needs to happen. Right. You're always going to be there too, always prevent you. Yeah, it says when righteousness is there, wickedness is there also. Right. It's just the way it is. Because this is Satan's setup, and Yahushua is now building his church to try to come in and be the next regime.
Always, you know, that you always got two choices. You have righteous and evil.
Right. So now let's continue on, verse 23 again. But he turned and said unto Peter, get thee behind me, Satan. Thou art an offense unto me, for thou savorest not the things that be of God, but those that be of men. Verse 24. Then said Yahushua unto his disciples, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself and take up his cross and follow me. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, And whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Right? So again, when we touched upon this a little bit in the beginning of the chapter, as far as for them not understanding, the Pharisees and the Sadducees not understanding who Yahushua was, right? And all the stuff that he had to deal with as keeping himself as a Messiah amongst his people of unbelievers. Not all of them, but a good portion of were unbelievers. So that's a lot to bear. When you are sent to your own people and they don't have the understanding that you have, they don't believe on you, they want to condemn you, they want to lock you up, they want to do all these things to you, when you're only the advocate for righteousness. You're only the advocate here, or the ambassador for the Most High Yahushua. Most people would think to do what? No, I'm not going through that. Listen, I can have it easy. If I can just, birds will fly, I can just now go back and be under them and be under one accord with them, right? Don't want to take this road. Don't want to stand up for righteousness. Don't want to say, I don't follow that. We follow it as written. You're not keeping the right thing. I'm not coming to your holiday. I'm not doing or eating your food. I'm not doing this. That's a lot to bear. But it's a good reward at the end of it, right? Because it says, if any man will come after me, let him deny himself, right? Deny that person that you thought you knew, that you was groomed to be on a worldly aspect. No. Deny that carnal spirit and follow after the Most High Yahushua, which is the righteous spirit, right? Because a spirit left without this is worldly, right? It's full of all kind of wickedness, lust. Matter of fact, go to 1 John, or write down 1 John, the 2nd chapter. 1 John, the 2nd chapter, and the 15th verse. So this goes with verse 24. Kind of denying yourself. It says, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passeth away and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of the Father, or the power, abideth forever, right? So you have to deny yourself from that worldly lifestyle and follow after Yahushua. Exactly. Remember, it says he was in the world, but was not of the world, right? So deny your worldly self and follow after Yahushua. If you don't do that, then the love of the Father is not in you, right? So read in verse 25 and 26 again. It says, for whosoever will save his life shall lose it. Meaning, you want to keep this life, right? I remember one time years ago, we was in Newark, and the brother, this drug dealer dude, came up and was like, listen, I make money. I got this. I got respect. I'm in my heaven. That's what he said us at the camp. I'm in my heaven. Yes. So he's like, he is saving his life, this life here. And Yahushua and the Most High says, remember, this world going to pass away. You're going to lose your life along with it, because it's going to go, right? It says, and whosoever shall lose his life, meaning he's not in one accord with this society, with this world, shall for my sake shall find it. Standing behind Yahushua, because Yahushua is not of the world, they're going to find their life. A life, a place where the Most High is prepared for them, right? That's what they're going to receive, that reward. Then it says, for what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? You receive all of this stuff. You got money, cars, riches, this, things, whatever it is, but you sold your soul. Sold your spirit out for tangible carnal things, right? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his soul? Meaning, your soul is supposed to be sacred, but you done took it for something else. For carnal things. It's like how you look back to Jacob and Esau when he sold his birthright for a piece of meat, right? How do you sell your, it's supposed to be more precious than what you receive. But that's how people indirectly think, or what they do. They sell their soul, not realizing that they're selling their soul. Some do, and others just do it through ignorance, without thinking. Verse 27, for the Son of Man shall come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and then he shall reward every man according to his works. So when that time comes, when the Most High sends Yahushua and the angels, he's going to reward those who denied himself, right? Who bared their cross for Yahushua. They're going to be rewarded. Right. But those who saved their life, they're going to lose it. And they're going to be rewarded with destruction, condemnation, right, by Yahushua and the angels. It's Alahayim. Kun. Verse 28, it says, verily I say unto you, there be some standing here which shall not taste of death till they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Right? So it's not talking about then, because Yahushua's kingdom didn't come, and we know all those people died. But it's talking about in these last days, there's some individuals who ain't going to see death until they actually see Yahushua coming. Right. Right? That's going to be the sign and the testimony for them based on what they have done in their past life. When that time happens, they're going to have to receive the judgment from Yahushua. Right. They're going to see Yahushua and then receive that death. Right? So some are going to be rewarded. Others have to wait and see it, where it's going to be like an I told you so moment. I told you he looked like this. I told you he was coming with the angels. I told you he don't love everybody else. Right. I told you the law is supposed to be kept. I told you you're supposed to keep those holy days. I told you stop eating that food. You didn't listen. So when Yahushua come,
just like with the Ten Commandments with Pharaoh, when he bowed down, put his hands on both his heads and bowed down, he had to go through all that for his belief at the wrong time.
Yeah. Before it became fact at that moment, and he was like, all right, Most High is Most High. And for them, they had to taste death. Right. The Most High sent the chariot and everything else, and they got swallowed up in the Red Sea. So not only did we see the chariot, they seen it too. Right. And they got swallowed up.
They got swallowed up, yeah. And that's when he seen all of them got swallowed up, he knew the Most High was the Most High. He bowed down both his hands. But it was too late because he went through all this, what he did.
All right, so that concludes the first chapter of Matthew's. I wonder if I should keep going or break. Started late. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to read the Hebrew of Matthew's 17th chapter, which most people don't read anyway. So in that time, I would say that those are home, or even if you brother wanted to get a quick bite to eat, some matzahs here, some jelly in the fridge. You can make you a nice little matzah with jelly. Those at home, whatever you prepare, you're cooking, make sure it's according to the law. Nothing leaven, of course, but I'm going to continue on and read through for this service. I'm going to read Matthew's the 17th chapter now in Hebrew, and continue on with the English edification on that one. So this is Matthew 17 and 1 now in the Hebrew. It says, Wamakwataza Shachath Yawumyam Lakak Lawa Yahawasha Ath Patarwas Wa'ath Ya'aikwab John Wa'ath Yawakanan. James is Yaikwab, Yawakanan is John. Ayak Yawakanan is John. Kun. John, Yawakanan.
Yawakanan is John.
Yep. Aktiwa waya ilum badad il har gaba wa, verse 2.
Waya Shathna La'ai Yunyaham Waya Ha Yarwa Panyawa Kashamash Wabagadyawa Kaash War Halaba Yabwa Salak Halaba Yanwa, verse 3. Waha Na Naraawa Alyaham Masha wa Alahaya Salak wa Allah Yawa Mada Baryam Athwa, verse 4. Wa Ya'ain Patarwas wa Ya'mar all Yahawshai Adunya Tawab Haya Wathunya Haya Wathunwa Pa Thaka Pataz Na'ai Shah Na Pa Shalash Sakwath Laka Akath Wala Ma Shah Akath Wala All Yawam Akath, verse 5. I Wadnawa Madabar Hawa Slak Wahana Ainan Awar Hatazal Al Yaham Wahana Kwawal Mathawak Ainan Ash Amar Za Banya Yada Yadya Ashra Rataza Yathya Bawa Olyawa Tasha Maiwan, verse 6. Wayahaya Shaka Kashamai Hathala Mayadyam Waya Powa Io Punyaham Waya Rawa Ma'ad, verse 7. Agash Yahawshai Waya Gai Bum Waya Amar Kwumwa Wa'o Thaya Rawa, verse 8. Waya Shawa I Yunyaham Wala'a Ra'awa Ayash Balathya Ath Yahawshai Labadwa, verse 9. Waba Radtham Mun Hahar Taza Wa Yahawshai Atham La'amar La'a Thaka Yadwa La'ayash Ath Dabar Hama Ra'a Aid Kwum Bun Ha'adam Ma'ain Hatha Salak Hamathyam, verse 10. Waya Shah Lawa Falama Yadyawa La'amar Lama Za Amaryam Hasawa Paryam Kaya Ala Yawa Bawa'a Yabawa'a Bara Ash Wana, verse 11. Waya Ain Yahawshai Waya Amar Alyaham Hanam Ala Yawa Bawa Salak Ba'a Bara Ash Wayana Wayaha Salak Wayasha Yab Ath Hakol, verse 12. Abo Amar Anya Lakam Kaya Ala Yawa Kabar Ba'a Wala'a Haka Yarawa Waya Aishwa Bawa Kara Taza Wanum Wakam Gum Bun Hadum Ya'ina Ail Yadum, verse 13. Az Haba Yanwa Hathala Mayadyam Kaya Ail Yawa Kanan Hamataba Yol Dabar Al Yaham, verse 14. Waya Haya Kabawa Ya Kabawa All Hama One Ha'ain Waya Gash All Yawam Ayash Waya Karai Ail Barakyawa Lana Gadwa, verse 15. Waya Amar Adunya Rakam Na Ail Bunya Kya Makar Yarak Hawa'a wa Kol Yawa Rai Kaya Pa'anyam Rabwath Hawa'a Napol Ba'ash wa Pa'anyam Rabwath All Thawak Hama Yum, Hamayim, verse 16. Water. Hamayim. Waya Salak wa Aba Ya'a Afwa O Talama Yabyaka Wala'a Yakowa Lara Paul Lawa, verse 17. Waya Ain Yahushai Waya Amar Hawaya Dawar Balathya Ma'amayan Wapatha Lathol Aid Mafia Ha'ayar Ainkam Aid Mafia Asa Bo Athkam Habaya Awa or Owafia Oya Hana, verse 18. Waya Ga'ir Bawa Yahawashad Waya Tazar Shad Mamunwa Waya Paul Hana Ire Mun Hasha'ar Hasha'ai Hahaya, verse 19. Waya Gashwa Faha Salak Hathala Mayadya. This is verse 19. Disciples. So Waya Gashwa Wathalama Yad Yum O Yahawashai Hawa Hawa'a Labadwa Waya Marwa Mada Y Anaknawa La'a Yakolnawa Laga Rashwa, verse 20. Waya Amar Yahawashai Oyaham Ma Hanya Ashrab Ayankam Ma Yun Yum Ma Yum Yum Kaya Man Amar Anya Lakam Yash Lakam Ama Wana Kagara Gar Hakardo Wa Martham O Hahar Hazar I Thak Mazar Shamar Wana I Thak Mama Kwawamwa Wa Yun the Bar Asherah Yaba Tazar Makam, verse 22. Abo Hama Yun Hazar La'a Yatazar Kaya Batha Pala Waba Tazawam, so like Waba Tazawam, verse 23. Wayahaya Baha Fahokam Ba'aratiza Hagala Yom Waya Amar Olyaham Yahawashai Atha Yad Bun Ha'adam Laha Masar Bayadya Anumyam, verse 24. Wayaha Ragawa Waba Yawum Hashala Yasha Kwam Yakwam Wayatha I Tazabwa Ma'adya Wayahaya Kaba Wa All Kapar Nakwam Wayagashwa All Patarwas Gabuya Salat Gabya Makatazyath Hashakwal Waya Amarwa Hala'a Yathan Rabkam Ath Makatazyath Hashakwal, verse 25. Waya Amar Hun Wababa Wa'awa Haba Ithar Kwadam Athwa Yahawashai Lashal O Ma Da'ith Da'ithka Shama'ik Malapya Ha'aratiza Mumya Yakwakwa Makas Wamas Ma'ath Bunyahum All Ma'ath Hazarium, verse 26. Waya Amar Patarwas Olyawa Ma'ath Hazarium Waya Amar Lawa Yahawashai Kan Aparwa Salak Apawa Habunyan Kapashim Hama, verse 27, last verse. Ak Lama Ain La'a Naha Ya Laham Lama Kashwal Laka All Hayam Waya Shalaktha All for Wakwa Kakar Wa'ath Hadag Hara Hara Ashwan Hara Ashwan, Ashra, Yailam, Sha'awa, Waka Ashra, Thapa Thak, Ath Payawa, Thama Tazar, Bawa, Sathyara, Wathwa, Kaklaka, Wanathath, Laham, Ba'aya, Waba Aidka. Feels so good. All right. So that's the.
Yeah, go to 27.
Say again? Yeah, I read 27. So now we're going to go into 18:1. 17:1, Thwada. So, and it reads, it says, and after 6 days, Yahushua taketh Peter, Patarwas, James, Yaiqua, and John, Yahweh his brother, and bringeth them up into the high mountain apart. It says, and was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses and Elias talking with him, right? So he takes these 3 disciples, Peter, James, and John, into a high mountain. And as he gets there, he begins to transform. He illuminates. It says he was transfigured before them, and his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as the light, right? So he began to glow in front of them, right?
Right.
Now, keeping in mind that Yahushua was now showing them and them only, right? He didn't show it to the other 9 disciples that was there. He just chose those 3. Just 3, James, Peter, and John.
Okay.
Right? Now, when you look at it, Yahushua favored them over the other ones.
Right.
Not that there was anything wicked, but he just had a bond, or had a kinship, a friendship with them to show them at times a little bit more things, right? Scripture tells you that sometimes the Most High will reveal things to certain prophets or certain men that's not revealed to others, right? So here it is, while he's now transfigured and illuminated, the disciples also see now Moses and Elias, or Elijah, right? 2 very pivotal men in our history. Moses being the leader that led us from Egypt, and then you have Elijah, one of the major prophets that we had back then at that time when you read in the book of Isaiah. So they see these 2 figures there with Yahushua, right? Talking to him. It says, then answered Peter, verse 4, and said unto Yahushua, Lord, it is good for us to be here. If thou wilt, let us make here 3 tabernacles, one for thee, and one for Moses, and one for Elias, right? So now they're looking to make tabernacles or structures for these 3 individuals, because now this is a monumental moment, right? Like an altar or something supposed to be set up for those 3. But it's making them all equal in their minds, because now they have Moses there. Now Elias is there with Yahushua. Right. So they already knew Yahushua was the anointed and the Messiah sent by the Most High. Right. But now he's almost looks like he's in league with the other past major men within Israel, because now they want to make them a tabernacle set up equally. But this was set up purposely by the Most High Yahushua to make him distinguished from anyone else. Right. It says, verse 5, while he yet spake, behold. So now while Peter is talking about setting this up, right, it says, behold, a bright cloud overshadowed them. So now here comes a chariot as they're up on this high mountain. And now this is now transfigured taking place. A chariot appears at the same time that Peter's talking about hey, let me go get something to make this for you, brothers, right? And behold, a voice out of the cloud, which said, this is my beloved son, in whom I am well pleased. Hear ye him, right? So now the three figures are there, right? So as if they brought the spirit of Moses back, brought the spirit of Elijah back, while they're present with Yahweh Shah. But the Most High appears and said, now this one here, this is my son, in whom I am well pleased. Listen to him, right? Not as if you're going to sit up there and set up structures to hear all three of them break down and teach and give them. Nah. Moses ran very well. Elijah ran well too. But this is the one that you now have to hear. This is the one I want you to hear, right? You can link this with Deuteronomy 18. Deuteronomy 18 and 15. So now this is during the time of Moses that they're about to prophesy about someone to come. So in Deuteronomy 18:15, it says, the Lord thy power will raise up unto thee a prophet, capital P. So this prophet here is distinguished from the other prophets. That's like when you read, when it says the Lord or it says God, and you see it in all capital letters, as opposed to just Lord in the first letters capital, right? You know that that Lord is usually sometimes alluding to Yahweh Shah. The one in all capitals is alluding to the Most High. Then you'll have just a regular Lord is just talking about a common man, or even a false god of sorts when it's just in lowercase letters. This one is just not a regular prophet. It's a prophet with a capital P. So this prophet is going to be distinguished from all the rest, right? From the midst of thee, of thy brethren, like unto me, unto him ye shall hearken. So this prophet, this is coming from the Most High, right? That the Most High is going to raise up a prophet that's going to be like unto himself, right? Listen to him. That's who you're supposed to listen to or hearken. It says, according to all that thou desirest of the Lord thy God in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, let me not hear again the voice of the Lord my power, neither let me see this great fire anymore, that I die not. And the Lord said unto me, they have well spoken that which they have spoken, right? So they don't want to hear the Most High because they feared him. But now the Most High is going to give them someone like unto himself. I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I command him. Now, pay attention. Now, it even mentions like unto thee, meaning Moses. I'm going to raise up a prophet like unto thee. Moses was a prophet as well. So this man is going to be like a Moses. Well, here it is that Moses is present with Yahweh Shah, right? But the prophecy states that they're supposed to hear or listen to him. Not Moses. When he's raised up, they're going to hear and listen to that prophet, which is Yahweh Shah, right? And then it says in verse 19, and it shall come to pass that whosoever will not hearken unto my words, which he shall speak in my name, I will require it of him. So that's where Yahweh Shah says that you're going to be rewarded in that day when he comes back, right? For all your actions and your deeds. So if you rejected the words which Yahweh Shah spoke of, if you rejected him, he's going to require it from you in that day. All right. So that was Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 15 to 19. Come. 17 and 5. 4 and 5. me 1 second. So you could also write down Hebrews. I'm going to read 1 to 5. Hebrews chapter 1, verses 1 to 5. It says, God on the Most High, who at sundry times and in diverse manners spake in time past unto the fathers by the prophets, hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, who being the brightness of his glory and the express image of his person, and upholding all things by the word of his power, when he had by himself purged our sins, sat down on the right hand of the majesty on high. Speaking of Yahushua being seated at the right hand of the Father, being made so much better than the angels, as he hath by inheritance obtained a more excellent name than they. So now when we talk about Moses and Elijah, these are great prophets, great men within Israel. But it doesn't stop just with the men of Israel. He said even the angels, right? So he's inherited a better name than all the angels. Right. So Gabriel, Michael, Uriel, all of them don't have a better position than Yahushua. Right. It says, verse 5, for unto whom, so like for unto which of the angels said he at any time, thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee, and again I will be to him a father, and he shall be to me a son. So which man or angel did the Most High make that distinguishing characteristic to? Yahushua, right? So that's what was shown to Peter, James, and John at that time on the high mountain, where the Most High now appears and now is able to go and tell them, no, this is my son who I am well pleased, hear ye him, right? So now you have at least three. Remember, where two or more are gathered, I'm in the midst. And not only that, but now you got two or three witnesses. So they can't just say it was just him by himself. Now you got two people. Now you got three people who can give testimony to this case here, right? And now you have even a fourth, because here is Paul who's making this statement. Not Peter, but Paul, who's writing this letter to the Hebrews, speaking about Yahushua, right? Now Peter, James, and John are there. They know it. But now here's a testimony, Shalom, who are giving them another account, another testimony of the highness of Yahushua. So now we're going to go back to Matthew 17. We at verse 6 now.
The one with Hebrews that make up with
Saying 4 and 5. Kind. It says, and when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were sore afraid. So when they heard that voice come from the chariot, from the cloud, this is my son. So they already believed that Yahushua was the son of the living Father.
Right.
So
he came down himself and told them.
He came down. So now they're hearing that voice come from the chariot. That's the Most High's voice.
They know that.
So they said, you know what? They were so afraid and fell on their face because of what they're hearing now. Because
the voice was so loud.
Right. Not only is it just loud, but it's the Most High.
Right.
This is not just like any old person or any old figure. Right. This is the creator of the heavens and the earth. Right. The beginning and end of all things.
He probably bowed down.
Yeah. Right?
I knew right away who was talking to me. And I just talked to I was scared.
Right.
Okay.
That's why when you have certain individuals, you read in the Bible, when they were in the presence of an angel, they got scared and bowed down in reverence, right? Because these are celestial authorities that have now come and been in your presence, who come and stand before the Most High, right? And people bow down for them. So now, hearing the voice of the Most High at that moment when they're on the mountain and they're seeing what's going on, Moses and Elijah are there, and they're seeing this thing like, yo, this is deep. Then all of a sudden, it comes a chariot, and then they hear that voice. It's like, oh man, this is heavy right now. Exactly, right? And it was a form of humbling themselves, right? It wasn't like they was afraid, like, you know, he's about to just come and kill everything. It's like, listen, this is the Most High. Right. You know who that is. Exactly. So you have people who carnally do that for worldly people, right? They'll see a certain celebrity come by and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't even stand in their presence. Oh, it's Beyonce. Oh, it's Michael Jackson. They start losing and crying and fainting, right? These people's full of, they're just like you. They're full of sin, even worse, because they're not following the Most High. So why are you going to fall out in reverence and deal with that with a person like that? Now, when someone who's worthy of it, they don't even care. That's why when we read in the last chapter, when Yahushua was like, look, the only sign I'm going to give you is a sign of Jonas. When he went, they repented. I'm here now, and y'all don't even care. Y'all don't even think who I am. I'm the Son of Man. They should have been bowing down and worshiping, reverencing, and following after y'all, but they didn't do it. Right? So now here it is. The Most High's voice comes from, or the angel's voice comes from the chariot. It says, this is my son in whom I am well pleased. Right? That celestial authority over everything. Right? Verse 6. And when the disciples heard it, they fell on their face and were so afraid. And Yahushua came and touched them and said, arise and be not afraid. So they still prostrated down on the ground. Then Yahushua came over and touched them on the back or the arm. Listen, all right, don't be afraid. It's cool. It's all right. Right? You don't have anything to worry about to say. Right? Verse 8, and when they had lifted up their eyes, they saw no man save Yahushua only. Right? So for that moment when they was beholding Yahushua and the two figures, the chariot and the voice that came, and they went down and they faces to the ground, Yahushua comes and touches them, and they look up. It's just him left alone. Right? The same person that was the figure all along. So now you have that further assurance that Yahushua is the one. You believed already on faith, right? Because he asked him, who do you think I am? Who do you say I am? You're the Messiah. You're the son of the living Father. Man, that's a blessing, because no man had to come and tell you that. You got that from the Spirit and from the Father. Now here comes a chariot and then adds confirmation onto it. Yeah, right? That's one of those things when you as an individual who are privileged to be a part of history. That's history, right? Because there's not too many people who can have that claim to say, yeah, I was there. It was just them three, right? And they were now able to go and testify on it. And then Matthew and the other writers of the gospel was able to write and have the Spirit to annotate it for us, right? So it says in verse 9, and as they came down from the mountain, Yahushua charged them, saying, tell the vision to no man until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Right? So they had to hold that. You imagine that? You imagine having that? Like, the good thing about it was that it was just more than one of them there. Right? To witness it. Why? Why do I say that? No, that too, but the fact that Yahushua said, tell no man a vision until that time happens, right? Now, all three of them was there. You know how hard it is to keep something that glorious to yourself? Like, you can't say it to nobody? So the beauty of that was them is that they could talk about it amongst themselves. It's like, yo, what do you think? Man, I wonder how he look. And they just talking amongst them, but they can't go and tell. They can't tell the other disciples or anybody else. It has to just stay within the group until Yahushua rose from the dead. So now that's the sign, right? Because it says, until the Son of Man be risen again from the dead. Because he had already talked about it last chapter, that he was already prepping them that he was going to have to die and be buried 3 days and night and rise again when you read it in different gospels. So he already prefaced them with that. So now as they see this, he's like, look, don't tell nobody about this until this thing happens. Till the time comes, right? So that's how we have this storyline, because they was able to then go and tell Matthew and the rest of all of those who are followers of Yahushua, and they now have it annotated in the gospel, the good news, so that we now can read about it, right? It says in verse 10, and his disciples asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias must first come, right? So why is it that you hear, but I read in the scriptures, or I'm hearing that the scribes say in the scriptures that Elijah must first come before you come on the scene, right? They're getting this from Malachi, the 4th chapter, the 5th and 6th verse. It says, Malachi 4, 5, and 6, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord, right? So the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord has to also pertain to the Messiah coming, to bring that kingdom back to us, as well as the Most High's judgment upon the earth, right? And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse, right? So they recognize that the Most High has put this prophecy in that Elijah must first come before that time, right? So now they're saying, well, Elijah has to come before you. Well, you here, I believe you are the Messiah, and the Most High has just confirmed it. Right. But why is they saying Elijah come? Because they didn't see Elijah as Elijah, right? They didn't understand. They were looking for the name, the man to come, Elijah, like how they just saw in that transfiguration when the spirits came back as the old beings, right? Because Moses in the reincarnation is not the same Moses. Right. Elijah in the reincarnation is not the same Elijah. He's going to have a different name, John the Baptist or some other name, and then they're going to carry forth. Right. So they were looking for Elijah himself to come back, right? Right. So again, in verse 11, in Yahushua, verse 10, and his disciple asked him, saying, why then say the scribes that Elias or Elijah must first come? And Yahushua answered and said unto them, Elias truly shall first come and restore all things, right? He has to be the forerunner to set the stage up. He truly has to come. Verse 12, but I say unto you that Elias is come already, and they knew him not, but have done unto him whatsoever they listed. Likewise shall also the Son of Man suffer of them, right? So he said, listen, you're right. He is supposed to come. Right. I'm going to hit you with something. It came already. And they did according to whatever so they were supposed to do unto him, unto his death. Right? Bear in mind, the same things that they did to him, they're going to do to me. I have to suffer the same type things of them. Right? So those who killed John or Elias, at the time I'm giving away, but those who killed Elias are going to say, I'm going to kill me, right? It says, then the disciples understood that he spake unto them of John the Baptist, right? Because he was the one who was just killed. Right. He's the one who alluded to those attributes of what Elias or Elijah was supposed to do. So in the same way that they believed on Yahushua and they had fullness of understanding that he is the Messiah, it took a little bit to jolt that with them about Elijah, right? Because when he said, hey, he came already, it was like, oh, I got it now. It was John, right? Because they knew about reincarnation, right? They just didn't understand if it was going to be Elijah, or if it was going to be someone else. Now they got it that it's not Elijah, it's that brother who died, who was the forerunner for you. It was John the Baptist, right? Verse 14. And when they were come to the multitude, there came to him a certain man kneeling down to him and saying, Lord, have mercy on my son, for he's a lunatic and sore vexed. For oftentimes he falleth into the fire and oft into the water, right? So, Yahushua, have mercy on my son. Can you do something for my son? I've seen you heal and do a lot of things for everyone else. My son, he's not in his right mind. Right. He harms himself bodily, physically, going into the fire and doing into the water like he wants to kill himself, right? Please help him. It says, verse 16, and I brought him to thy disciples, and they could not cure him. So as Yahushua is rolling with the 12 also had certain powers to go and heal given to them by Yahushua, right? And at this time, it was a little bit too early in the maturation of their spirits and power in dealing with this. So they figured, he said, hey, they with Yahushua, let me go to them first, right? So he went to them, but they couldn't do anything with him. This was just too much for what they were capable of doing with their level of faith, right? It says in verse 17, then Yahushua answered and said, O faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? How long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me, right? So Yahushua exuded a little bit of frustration, but it was to urge and exhort the men further on to gain understanding of what they should have been gravitating towards, right? That zealousness needed to take a leap forward. That zeal of the fruits of the spirit needed to take a leap forward, right? So he tried it with them and says, oh, faithless and perverse generation, how long shall I be with you? Meaning, I'm not going to be here that much longer. You brothers got to get it. Got to get it together because I'm leaving this in your hands, right? He says, how long shall I suffer you? Bring him hither to me. And Yahushua rebuked the devil, and he departed out of him. And the child was cured from that very hour, right? So when he brought him forth, Yahushua took the spirit, that evil spirit, off of him, right? And cast him somewhere else. Then came his disciples to Yahushua apart and said, why could not we cast him out, right? So as the multitudes is there, the man, the son, and everybody else probably is witnessing it, and they seen him take the spirit off of him. He's in his right mind. They're praising the Most High. They're thanking the Most High. And then time goes on. And they said, then they came to Yahushua separate or apart from everybody else, right? Because they wanted to keep this a private matter. Why we couldn't cast him out, Yahushua? What did we do wrong that we couldn't cast him out, right? It says in verse 20, and Yahushua said unto them, because of your unbelief, right? Because of your unbelief. So sometimes, like I said, in the levels of building up your faith, you still stagnant in certain areas. You didn't believe that you could do to take that spirit off. You believed that it was probably too much for you, so it wasn't there. You doubted. Once you doubt, you can't go through. And that's even on a carnal level. Sometimes when you doubt your capabilities, you restrain yourself from doing what you're supposed to do. That's just on a carnal level. Now, when you look at it in the spiritual level of doing things like this, when you doubt, you don't think that the Most High and Yahushua can work through you to do those things that you can do, right? So their unbelief is what prevented them from doing it on one hand, right? It says, verily I say unto you, if ye have faith as a grain of mustard seed, ye shall say unto this mountain, remove hence to yonder place, and it shall remove, and nothing shall be impossible unto you. So if you have the faith of a mustard seed, which is still a very spicy seed, right? A mustard seed. but it's a small seed. If you have that bit of faith, you can move mountains. You could change the course of the world, right? Not so much a carnal, physical mountain that you're going to move it and it's going to show up somewhere else. It's talking about governments. It's talking about systems. It's talking about all of that where you can shake the world. If you have that small of faith and you have that big of a voice and zealousness, you can go out there and move mountains. Remember in the scriptures, a mountain is like a government or a kingdom. You could shut that down if you have that faith, if you believe, right? So that's what Yahushua is saying. So this issue right here with this spirit that's on this person, you could have dealt with that if you had that level of faith. That whatever it is that is set before you, you can overcome that in the spirit of righteousness with the Most High Yahushua, right? Now, they weren't there. They hadn't had that yet. So how do you get that level? Because sometimes you don't have or not where you want to be yet. You may pray to the Most High for certain things, for knowledge on certain scriptures, or to get over a certain hurdle or obstacle, right? And you want the Most High to help you with that. So what do? It says in verse 21, howbeit this kind cometh not out but by prayer and fasting, right? So if you want to get to that point, if you want the Most High to help you overcome this hurdle or obstacle, here's another thing that you also got to do. Pray and fast, right? Prayer is good, but also is great with fasting. And when you read an Apocrypha and even alms, write down Tobit. The book of Tobit, 12th chapter, 8th verse. Tobit 12th chapter, 8th verse. Where it says, prayer is good with fasting and alms and righteousness, right? So your prayers just can't be always dormant just by itself. You just asking, petitioning, and saying. It says it is good with fasting, as Yahushua just alluded to, and alms, right? Service, where you go out and you do good deeds for your nation, for your brothers, and righteousness, meaning you may still have to follow after godliness in the scriptures. All that combined together, man, that takes prayer on a higher level than without it, right? It says, a little with righteousness is better than much with unrighteousness. It is better to give alms than to lay up gold. For alms doth deliver from death and shall purge away all sin. Those that exercise alms and righteousness shall be filled with life, but they that sin are enemies to their own life, right? So that's the perspective on how you consider your prayers, what you do with your prayers. Sometimes you want that extra, you want the Most High to humble yourself before the Lord so he can give it to you. You have to pick a day where you're going to pray, but you're going to fast for a period of time as well for that day, right? And then also go out and do some alms, right? Whether it's carnal, you're giving, a monetary thing, you're giving a service to something, you're going out there and you're trying to uplift or help out those in need. All of that adds on to your petition from the Most High that you want the Most High to help you with. So that was Tobit 12, 8 to 10. So back to Matthew's 17 and 22. So it says in Matthew 17 and 22, and while they abode in Galilee, Yahushua said unto them, The Son of Man shall be betrayed into the hands of men, and they shall kill him. And on the third day he shall be raised again. And they were exceeding sorry. Right? Because Yahushua saying is more than one time now, more than 2 times, more than 3 times. So when you start continually hearing this, listen, this is going to happen. These men going to grab me up and they're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. They're going to kill me. They're going to do a lot of things to me and they're going to kill me. And it's like, yo, everything he's saying is always on point. Now he's talking about he's going to die. They're going to kill him. Peter said no. And you see what Yahushua said to him? So this got to be true. There's nothing we can do about this. Man, they're going to kill Yahushua? Exceeding sorry. This wasn't like they was just, upset for a moment. Exceedingly sorry. Right? Like that moment, that messed that day up. You know how you hear some news and it just made like you was good, you was on, everything was great, and then you hear something about somebody, a relative or something, and just mess your whole day up. Your mood is changed. The mood is changed. I know I'd be the same way. Right? Verse 24. And when they were come to Capernaum, they that received tribute money came to Peter and said, does not your master pay tribute? Right? So those who receive tribute money, like a tax collector or whoever for the Romans, right? That's their service. So now here it is. They're trying to always come and tempt Yahushua with something. So at first they came to Peter and said, Peter, right? Does not your master pay tribute? Does Christ pay tribute to the Romans? That's what they're trying to figure out, right? Verse 25, he said, yes. And when he was coming to the house, Yahushua prevented him, saying, what thinkest thou, Simon? Of whom do the kings of the earth take custom of tribute? Of their own children or of strangers, right? Because now, as they came to Peter with this, now this is something that's on Peter's mind. Yahushua knoweth all things. Peter came in the house, questioned him about it. He said, Peter, let me ask you a question about this taxing and paying tribute. The people that do this, the kings of the earth that pay tax or get tribute money from the people, who do they do it to? Is it their own children or is it the strangers? Right? Verse 26, Peter saith unto him, of strangers. Yahushua saith unto him, then are the children free. Right? They don't have to be subject to paying any tribute. But those who are the others are now held captive to paying a tribute money. It's the same thing you see in the Old Testament where when people went and conquered, they had to pay tribute to them. Right? Even along the storylines when you see during the time of Joshua, when that Hamitic tribe lied and convinced us that they were far neighbors and not close, and we couldn't kill them, but we made them captives, and they had to pay us some tribute. Right? It happened several times. And there was times where we had to consistently pay tribute. Right? So they are free from that, but we now are obligated to do that. Right? It says, notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, go to the sea and cast an hook and take up the fish that first cometh up. When thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. That take and give unto them for me and thee. Right? So on tool guards here, you always have people who feel that the way the system is run, right? There's always a loophole in the system where I can claim sovereignty and not have to pay or be subject to these laws and these rules, right? Whereas the Most High is the one who set this up this way. The Most High is the one who now in our captivity, we're supposed to pay tribute to them, right? Because of all the things that we had done when we were in our glory that we didn't do. Now this is a form of punishment where they now are the ones who are the kings and the rulers, and they now are requiring us to pay a tribute or a tax, right, on a lot of different things. Go to Romans real quick. Romans, the 13th chapter. And the first verse. So Romans 13:1 says, let every soul, this is Paul writing the letter, within the letter that's being given to the Israelites that's in Rome. Let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, meaning those rulers and kings that set up. For there is no power but of God. These powers didn't just appear there. They came from the Most High. They were set up because of the Most High. Right. The powers that be are ordained of God, right? Whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God. Meaning the Most High set them up. And if you resist them being set up to where they are right now, and that hierarchy, you're resisting the ordinance of God because you're not trying to fight against this captivity and this setup that the Lord has put upon Israel, upon the whole world. The Lord has established it that way, right? Again, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of God, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Right? Remember, you can't go and try to overthrow and get things or whatever. So you're going to now go and take the kingdom without the Most High, right, without the Father. And you say, I'm not following after their regime. Or now you're resisting the prophecy that the Most High said that we had to be in this condition. You're fighting against the ordinance. Right. That happened to the Israelites during the time of Jeremiah when the Lord told us that we was going to go into the Babylonian captivity. Right. And the men said, man, we ain't going into no captivity. Man, these guys is bugging out. Man, grab Jeremiah and throw him in the doggone prison for talking that madness. That's what they did because they didn't want to listen to what the Most High was saying, that this was something set up by him. Right. He said, if you go there and go into this captivity, everything will be good. You'll have land, you'll have children, everything will be good. But if you resist, y'all gonna have to die. And that's what happened to those men. Right? They tried to resist, and the Most High brought the Babylonians against them and killed them. Right? So in the same token here, when you resist this ordinance, you're resisting the ordinance of the Most High, or this setup, you're going against the Most High. It says, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. For rulers are not a terror to good works, but to the evil. Wilt thou then not be afraid of the power? Do that which is good, and thou shalt have praise of the same. So you don't have to worry about them if you're not an evildoer, if you're not a sinner, right? Sure, sometimes they may, what's the word I want? They may, what did Gabar say they did? Profile you or do certain things, but you don't have to receive that damnation, that penalty, that bullet, or that gun, or whatever it is, like how much some of these other ones are, right? You don't have to fear the terror or fear those powers if you do good, right? So just follow, stay in accordance with the Spirit, what the scriptures is teaching us. Live accordingly, according to the guidelines that are here, and you got nothing to worry about, right? It says, verse 4, for he is the minister of God to thee for good. But if thou do that which is evil, be afraid. For he beareth not the sword in vain, for he is the minister of God, a revenger to execute wrath upon him that doeth evil, right? So he's set up by the Most High to go out there and punish, kill, beat, do a lot of things to those who they see fit, right? But for us, the elect, the chosen, if you do that which is all right, you don't have to worry about being subject to those things, right? It says, verse 5, wherefore you must needs be subject, not only for wrath, but also for conscience sake, right? So now we have to follow under the order of the Most High first, which now has set up these kings and these rulers with their rules and policies. That's the way it's got to be, right? Now, check this out. Verse 6, for this cause pay ye tribute also, right? So because they're set up, we got to pay that tribute. We got to pay that tax. They're going to take money out your check. They're going to tax you on the goods that you buy, right? That's what you're subject to. So pay the tribute, not only for they are God's ministers, attending continually upon this very thing. Render therefore to all their duties, tribute to whom tribute is due, custom to whom custom is due, fear to whom fear, honor to whom honor, right? So now we have to put it in perspective as far as for what we follow in its entirety, right? Because they're not forcing us to keep Easter. They're not forcing us to keep these other customs. They're not forcing us to say that we accept different sexualities. They're not forcing us to do that. They are forcing you to pay that tax. You gotta pay that tax. I just seen DMX went to jail for a year, tax evasions. Yeah, he just got sent away for taxes. He didn't want to pay that tribute, or they trying to get around it. They're gonna come, and usually the penalties is worse than the actual money that you owe. If you look at the tax, the way the tax system set up, and the penalties, you have a certain amount of money that they require you to pay. Let's just say it's $10,000 and you didn't pay your taxes for about 2, 3, 4 years, right? But that's broken down into sub things. So each one of those sub statutes is a fine on itself. Oh, you didn't do this one? That's a fine. You didn't pay within this amount of time? That's a fine. You didn't go and get this signature? That's a fine. So when you add up all the fines for not paying that 10, now you owe like $50-some thousand. You're like, wait a minute. I only owe 10, but I gotta pay 60 something. Yeah, because the fines that's there.
You gotta fine.
You gotta pay it, right? So the tribute is theirs. So what? Give that to him, right? The Most High take care of everything else, right? But those who try to avoid it, again, like the scripture said in the second verse, is avoiding the ordinance of the Most High. Right? Now, let's go to Matthew 22. So that was Romans 3:1-7. Let's go to Matthew 22. And 15. Matthew 22:15. Right. One second here. All right, so this is Matthew's 22 and 15. It says, then went the Pharisees and took counsel how they might entangle him in his talk, right? So they went and had a private council and said, listen, we got to come together and figure out a way where we can trap him in his words. Because everybody's still following this guy. They still believe in him. We know he's nothing. So we got to figure out a way to come up with the right question and write something to get him off his guard, right? It says, verse 16, and they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true. So let's pause right for a second. So the Pharisees is talking, these leaders, these priests, and they said, we got to come up with a way to catch him. So now what they did was, it says they sent their disciples along with the Herodians. So they didn't themselves go. They sent, they sent their disciples. They sent these spies, the CIA's operatives, and to go do the dirty work. So that it wouldn't seem, once you seen the Pharisees coming, it's like, oh, I know, here come these brothers. They coming with something. But when you get somebody else, it's like, oh, all right, these guys is not them. So, all right, I can deal with you. My guard is a bit down. That was their intent. So that's why a lot of times brothers of schools is very itchy on who's coming in, because, hey, he's not in here for the right motives or objectives. He's in here to try to catch me up on something, or to spy on me for something, or try to convince me about something that I should be, or we should be engaged in, right? To get us caught up, right? Because that happens. That's happening right now. You got certain factions that are trying to get brothers in certain schools caught up in nonsense, right? That's why you always got to be on your P's and Q's. If you stay in the confines of this and don't let lust keep in, the lust of money, lust of the flesh, whatever, you ain't got nothing to worry about. You'll be able to spot them easily, right?
Right.
But I'm gonna read verse 16 again. It says, and they sent out unto him their disciples with the Herodians, saying, Master, we know that thou art true and teachest the way of God in truth. Neither carest thou for any man, but thou regardest not the persons of men. So they're sitting here lying, right? Master, we know that thou art true. They don't believe in Yahushua. They don't believe the word. They're the disciples of the Pharisees, right? But they're coming with this already programmed, written up speech to give them, right?
Okay.
Yeah, they're trying to plan, they're trying to catch them, right? Because these are sent by the Pharisees. I know you the real one, you true. Everything you say is on point. And now let me come with the side question, right? It says, neither carest thou for any man, for thou regardest not the persons of men. Trying to set it up smooth. Verse 17, tell us therefore, what thinkest thou? Is it lawful to give tribute unto Caesar or not? Right? Because in this way, they're thinking, well, he's a man of God. He's speaking and advocating and is not siding with what the system is doing. So this is a good way to try to catch him up, because this man is all about the Most High. He don't regard the person of man. That's how they laid it. You don't regard or care about what man wants or what they think. We know you speak truth. Let me ask you a question. What do you think about paying Caesar tribute? What do you think about giving his money, right? Because if a person who don't regard man, I ain't giving him nothing. Who is he, right? What am I going to give him money for, right? I'm the son of man. This is how they're looking to trap him up in his words. Okay. Verse 18, but Yahushua perceived their wickedness and said, why tempt ye me, ye hypocrites, right? So he already knew that they was lying, right? And the way they was coming with shenanigans. That's why I said, well, if you stay on point and you understand the ordinance and the order and how the Most High has everything set up for us to operate in, you got to worry about. But now you can start to see the deception, the demonicness in these brothers to say, what? That brothers is wicked as all hell, man. You a hypocrite. You came talking about I'm speaking truth and everything else. Now you're trying to catch me in my words, right? Nah. So verse 19, so being now he picked what they was trying to do, still he's going to give a rational, logical, honest answer on how to deal with it, right? Verse 19, show me the tribute money. And they brought him unto him a penny. And he saith unto them, whose is this image and superscription, right? So on the coin, you got a person's face, and then you got the name underneath, right? So now he's like, well, whose is this? Whose face is that, and what's the name underneath? They said unto him, Caesar's. So if that's his face, and that's his superscription underneath, well, it's his. Then saith unto them, render therefore unto Caesar the things which are Caesar's. So if that's his face and that's his name, give him his stuff. It's a big deal. Why am I going to have all my money filled with his images and inscription on it and keep it for myself and not give it back to him? Give it to him. What? But you don't respect anyone's persons. You don't respect man. Why would you give it back to him? Why would you want to now feed into him, making you now an inferior individual? Well, you don't respect him anyway. Listen, give Caesar his stuff. Give it back to him. That's his stuff. But now remember, he called them hypocrites. Right? So then unto the Most High God, the things that are the Most High God's, right? You paying attention to this stuff over here, this carnal stuff, man, give him his stuff. But the things that are the Most High's, we are supposed to be the Most High's property. We're supposed to be rendering unto the Most High the things that he requires. So they now over here advocating and saying that they're priests and men of the Lord, disciples of these men, following after what's written in the scriptures, but not doing what they're reading and teaching the people in the scriptures. So that's why he called them a hypocrite. Right. Do the things the Most High wants. You're reading and saying it, but you ain't doing it. So now when they come to Yahushua on this about the superscription, ingenious Yahushua answered that, but came and dealt with the personal on their end. Y'all not doing that. So now they can go back and chew on that, right? It says in verse 22, when they had heard these words, they marveled and left him and went their way, right? So now when he broke that down, it was like, yo, that's heavy. That's heavy. I didn't even look at it like that. I just looked at it as like my money. I ain't giving them my money. That's their money. Their faces and their names is on it. Right. Why are you saving it so much? Why are you holding on to it like they can't come and get it? Right? So that's deep. But then he did point out that we got to get the Most High what the Most High requires. Yo, we got to go talk to the Pharisees, man, because they ain't going to be that easy. We got to go talk to them, right? And this is not that easy. So the next verse says, the same day came to him Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection in us, right? So you had the Pharisees came on one hand, they couldn't deal with it. Now the Sadducees is coming on their own to try to catch him and tempt him in his words, right? So understanding that we float in the same operation as Yahushua, when people come with questions, sometimes the questions is loaded. Sometimes the questions ain't sincere. The questions already have been discussed before they showed up, right? And the person who engineered all of this is going to send somebody else, right? So sometimes other people was coming by the camp, or sometimes some people's coming by the job, or sometimes the person's coming by the house, whatever, and they appear to be sincere, but they already had a backstory that they don't know, that they don't want you to let you know yet. And then that information is to catch you up in, what did he say? Oh, he said this. All right, great. Oh, that written down. And then now they're going to now hold that and try to wait till another time and come up and say, hold on. Let me ask you a question, brother. Do you believe such and such? Because they know how you already answered it before. But hold on here. The scripture says this. Look, I told you these brothers don't know what they're dealing with. These brothers is liars. They this, they that. To catch you in your speech. To make this seem like it's a sham. Right? Or what we believe, not the Bible itself. Some just the Bible itself, but others based on just what we believe. Right? So we always have to be aware and keen on that regard. All right, so that was Matthew 22. I read from 15. I stopped at 23. I stopped at 23. Come on. The same story. So now I'm going to go back to 27. It says, notwithstanding, lest we should offend them, right? Now check that out. Now, lest we should offend them, because if you don't pay the tribute money, it's an offense because you're supposed to be taxed. Right. You're supposed to give them their just due. So that we don't offend, right? We don't get ourselves caught up in anything. Go to the sea and cast an hook and take up the fish that first cometh. And when thou hast opened his mouth, thou shalt find a piece of money. That take and give unto them for me and thee. So Peter was already a fisherman, right? So he said, listen, go to the sea, cast a hook. The first fish that comes up, you're going to find a piece of money in his mouth. Take that and then go pay for both of us, right? So now you as a fisherman, you've seen Yahushua do a lot of miracles and things, water the wine and everything else. It now becomes like the norm. It's like, yo, this guy always has something, man. Like, I'm about to go fish and then a piece of silver or gold is going to be in his mouth. Wait, I got to go do this. And he's fishing and he pulling it up. He grabbed that, take that hook out and look. Something else, man. He's something else, right? Time and time again. So I always say, imagine having, you know, if you was in your memory, if you were one of the 12, or even one of the 70 or others who followed him, to be present to see that, right? To just see this consistently, day by day. This happened this hour, that happened that hour, that happened in that moment. You're like, yeah. And then when you hear of the three, you hear the Most High come and say, "This is my son, he whom I'm well pleased." Man, it's like at a certain point, you have to feel. I know I would. You have to feel invincible. It's like, yo, man, I'm with Yahushua, man. This is all this stuff he doing.
I ain't got to worry about nothing.
Listen, this guy is bringing people back from the dead. He's healing, making people see that couldn't see, people who couldn't. He's doing all this stuff. He's feeding us where food wasn't even there.
Yeah.
He has money just appearing out of nowhere. Listen, we ain't got to worry about nothing.
Right.
But he keep telling us that he's going to get killed.
Right.
How the heck? He gonna get killed. All this he doing? Nah, I can't let that go down. Right? So even when Peter, as you read later on in the gospel, remember Peter was the one that says, "No, I can't have that happen."
Right.
And Yahushua had to kind of get on him about it, right? Remember later on when Peter, when they actually come to grab up Yahushua, Peter pulled out the sword and cut off the dudes. You're like, "No, I ain't letting that go down," because again, this is the Messiah. I ain't letting nothing happen to Yahushua.
Right,
That's his carnal mentality. But Yahushua is telling them, "Nah, I got to go through this.
Right.
This is going to happen. They're going to come get me. They're going to kill me. The same people who killed John going to kill me."
Yeah.
James, the brother I fished a piece of silver out of his mouth. He's giving me money. We ain't got to worry about nothing. Like that song, I ain't got to worry about nothing. I ain't got to worry about nothing. We with Yahushua, right? But this is what they were having to deal with. They're now taking the good with the bad, because like I said, even you now knowing it, it's still not a happy occasion to see him crucified like that, to see him beat that way, spit on, put the crown of thorns on, see him on the cross that way. No one's at the cross like, "Yay, look at Yahushua on the cross. All right, we going." No, you still going through emotions seeing Yahushua like that, even though he's telling you that this has to happen. So again, for them, those men and women who are going through that, man, that's a roller coaster of emotions and spirits that's going on with you. A lot. And then that's why even after he died, they were up in that room together in the room, just kind of like thinking like, "Yo, man, I don't know what's going on." And boom, Yahushua just appears in the midst of them. It's like, what? Yahushua, oh snap, you was right. You came back. Thomas over there, but that ain't Yahushua, man. That's something else. Hey, feel me. Feel my hands. I told you, everything I told you was on point. Jonas, 3 days. I told y'all this was going to happen. Right. So even in death, in life and death, Yahushua proved the same thing the Most High said. His word didn't go out, but everything he said happened and transpired.
But when he goes on that grave, he didn't go by himself either.
The Most High. Oh yeah, as far as for during that day.
Yeah,
on that day, it tells you that
500 rose up for him.
Yeah. It tell you when you're reading the gospel, when we get to that in a few weeks, it'll tell you that others came out of their graves and went into the city. When he died, others came out of their graves and went into the city. Mm-hmm.
500. Yeah. Man, that is
so imagine Israel coming out of Egypt with all those plagues. One of the greatest historical things that's happened in the world, right? That happened as far, you got the world wars and all that. That's just wars. That's common. There's been wars going on and on. But for that to have happened, what happened during the time of us coming out of Egypt on a high level, right? Noah and the ark on a high level, right? The Most High destroyed everything except for what was in that ark. And then Yahushua coming in the earth, high level, right? For those things to what he did. And it's not to say that, you know, Yahushua raised people from the dead. It's not to say that's the first time that somebody had died and was given life again that they came about, because you read the same thing in the Kings with Elijah, right? He went and healed the woman's son, brought him back to life. So it's not that it never happened. So people look at, oh, look, this guy, he's doing all this stuff. It happened in the Old Testament. So you're trying to tell me you don't believe what happened in the Old Testament? And you're Old Testament believers, followers, right? So it's just faith. But all of what happened with Yahushua, the teachings, the healings, his death, his resurrection, and everything that transpired, high level of what we look at in our history. And then the one that's to come with us in this generation, when Yahushua comes back, and that time period, everything that happens with this highest level, right? It says it should be no more day like it before or after that day, right? So we are, you know, we've read and spiritually experienced some pivotal moments in history, and now we're on the brink, or in the brink of the next great one that we're living through right now, right?
And this, this is not like we did for Moses, because now we center in every lane.
Yeah, we was all together. We all knew who we were, right? We had all that. Now it's a taller task, because everybody we're against each other. We're against each other. We're against the truth. It's a much difficult time now, and that's why the Most High said everybody ain't gonna make it on this one. Everybody can't make it. Disbelief, unfaith, whatever, they're not gonna get it.
And because God remember what they did right there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Throughout all them period, from the time they came out of Egypt and throughout history, they've been that same spirit. Yep. Mm-hmm. All right. So that concludes the 17th chapter and the Sabbath service for today. Next week, we'll be in 2nd Maccabees. The 11th and 12th chapter. Con, 2nd Maccabees, the 11th chapter and the 12th chapter. All right. So keep in mind, next Thursday night is the closing service for the Feast of Unleavened Bread. We have it at the same location. And Friday night, sundown next week, ends the unleavened bread, meaning you can then eat leavened bread again, right, during the next week's Sabbath. So you can start preparing your regular sandwiches and stuff that you would do normally on the Sabbath. But Thursday night is the opening of the closing service, and then Friday sundown ends the unleavened bread. All right. So with that, we're going to set up the closing prayers. We're going to say again, Ashar Shabbath, Wa Hapasak, Wa Hamatazawath. Happy Sabbath and Passover and unleavened bread, right? Which we're still in the first day of that, right? So it's like a double Sabbath today. We had the Passover, unleavened bread, and then we just had the regular 7th-day Sabbath as well, all on one day. So Most High's will, everybody had a spiritually fruitful Passover night, as well as having a joyous and spiritually enlightening unleavened bread feast week coming up. Most High's will, we'll hear or see each other during the upcoming Tuesday night class and then for the closing during the unleavened bread. All right. So all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High, Yahweh Shah, for this joyous time that we are able to be here for the high holy days, as well as to be in His truth. All wisdom, knowledge, understanding, we know thus coming from the Most High through Yahweh Shah. So we want to be grateful and give our thanks to Him for allowing us to be able to see it, like Peter was able to see it that we read today in class, or the rest of the disciples, that we're privileged enough to understand and see the Lord's will. All right. So that again, shalom, and stay tuned for the closing prayers. Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Parya, Sabbath. Barakatha Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Asherah, Lathalanawa, Parya Hagapim throughout Amun, La Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Af Yasha Allah. Madra upon you, Jerusalem, stand and face Jerusalem. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Baba Kusha, Shamai, Lanawa, Aitha, Yum Yun, Aitha, Shalat, Maika Allah, Waha Allahayim, Tazmadakim, La, Shema Ayam, Barak, Rapah, Magun, Wahakaziyak, Bunya, Yasha Allah, Washalat, Lanawa, Rabium, Kakama, Rabium, Da'aith, Rabium, Bayana, Rabium, Sabalunwa, Rabium, Amawan, Rabium, Aqua, Rabium, Ahabium, Rabium, Pagana, Rokanaya, Wasalak, Kol, Kata Ayamnawa, Lahaakim, Wa'akiwa, Wayasha Allah, Thum Yad, Wa'aywalam, Bahasham, Yahawashai, for Wada Alman. English translation. Yahweh, the Most High God, in the name of Yahweh Shah, or Jesus, please listen to us now, right now. Send Michael and the righteous powers of angels to watch over, bless, heal, protect, and make strong the children of Israel. And send to us much wisdom, much knowledge, much understanding, much patience, much faith, much brotherhood, much love, much spiritual protection, and forgive all our sins for the brothers and sisters in Israel, always and forever. In the name of Yahweh Shah, thank you, so be it. Four Corners Prayer. Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Barak Noah, Wayasha Allah, Wabat Yasaparium, Shema Yasharallah, Yahweh, Allah Haynawa, Yahweh, Akhad. All right. Shalom Yasharallah and the Shah Shabbat.